Stepping up during tough times, putting a princess to work, and disco dancing in the kitchen. Princess Charlotte has been in the spotlight since birth, and it seems that some of her few chances to relax come when she spends time with her grandmother, Carole Middleton. When Princess Catherine was pregnant with Princess Charlotte, she didn't exactly have an easy time. Like a small percentage of other expecting mothers, Catherine was diagnosed with hyperemesis gravidarum, a condition that causes severe vomiting.
This is intractable throwing up, non-stop. You can't hold any fluids or food down.
As the princess herself put it on the Happy Mum, Happy Baby podcast, she wasn't, quote, the happiest of pregnant people. Luckily though, Catherine wasn't left to suffer alone. While the then Duchess of Cambridge struggled with a perpetually upset stomach, Carole Middleton took charge. The doting grandmother reportedly decorated Charlotte's future nursery to perfection. Carole also carried on the usual grandmother and mother-in-law duties. She took Prince George to his swimming lessons so that Catherine could rest. She helped William select ties for formal events. All of Carole's family-focused efforts allowed her to develop a strong attachment to Charlotte before she was even born. When Charlotte was born on May 2nd, 2015, Carole was ecstatic. Because she had cared so much for Catherine during her pregnancy, Carole was one of the first people to meet baby Charlotte, even earning the privilege of seeing the new princess before her royal grandfather, King Charles III. After seeing her precious granddaughter, Carole already couldn't wait to spoil her with gifts. Just a few months after Charlotte came into the world, Carole was spotted shopping at Trotters, a premium UK brand of clothing for children and babies. Although nobody could see exactly what she purchased, it was assumed that the loving grandma had picked up some items for both Charlotte and Prince George. She was seen emerging from the shop with a hefty bag in tow. Apparently, she found plenty of gifts for her grandkids. Carole comes from a long line of women who love to splurge on their children and grandchildren. Her own mother, Dorothy Goldsmith, purchased the nicest stroller she could afford, despite coming from modest means. As Carole's cousin Pat told the Daily Mail, Dorothy had the biggest Silver Cross pram you've ever seen after Carole was born. After stepping into this matriarchal position herself, Carole seemed keen on continuing this sweet family tradition. As Charlotte grew into an adorable toddler, Carole told William and Catherine that she wanted to take on some babysitting duties. Thus, when the then Duke and Duchess of Cambridge embarked on a 7-day royal tour of India and Bhutan, Charlotte and George were placed in Carole's care. Although they were likely too young to remember the entirety of the visit, both children were given the chance to develop an even stronger bond with their grandmother. As the mother of 3 children herself, Carole knows how to keep little ones engaged. According to her friends, Carole's backyard boasts a pond that is teeming with ducks. Her garden is also home to some chickens, which George and Charlotte have been known to find absolutely fascinating. As one insider told People magazine of Middleton's yard, it looks absolutely beautiful. The children love to come and play. Over the years, Grandma Carole has arranged for Charlotte and her royal siblings to engage in a number of stimulating projects. Carole likes to keep her grandkids just as active as she is, so for her, an afternoon in the garden doesn't mean sipping tea and listening to the birds. It means breaking out the shovel and actually gardening. When Charlotte comes over, Carole hardly tells her to act like a little princess. Instead of dressing Charlotte in a dress and a tiara, she hands her granddaughter gloves and a hoe. As Carole noted in an interview with Saga magazine, growing potatoes is a simple one to start with, and digging for spuds is fun at any age. We also grow carrots, beetroot and onions, and there's no better way to encourage healthy eating than to allow your grandchildren to see how food is grown and let them pick their own. Carole's efforts have allowed Charlotte to experience a bit of normalcy, something that is otherwise lacking in her royal life. It's not exactly a secret that Carole Middleton loves the holidays. As the former founder and CEO of the party supply company Party Pieces, Carole spent decades helping her clients enjoy the holidays in style.
It was selling this new idea for parties over a website, and it was a very clever idea.
Although she no longer runs the business, Carole seems beyond happy to share her passion for celebrations with Princess Charlotte. This is especially true at Christmas time, when the family matriarch is known for including her grandkids in the decoration process. In an interview with The Telegraph, Carole said that she likes to buy an extra Christmas tree just for her grandchildren to decorate on their own. Carole also enjoys Halloween and is more than thrilled to be able to share some fun fall traditions with Charlotte. In an October 2022 post on Party Pieces Instagram, Carole hinted at what sort of activities she might do with Charlotte and her brothers, writing, "I've even grown my own pumpkins this year, so I'm looking forward to decorating those with my loved ones." Princess Charlotte may be on the path to one day becoming Princess Royal, but that doesn't mean she isn't required to respect her grandmother. Luckily, Carole is a firm believer in rules, a value that she isn't afraid to share with Charlotte. As Carole once told The Telegraph, "I think one of the most important qualities of a good parent is discipline. That doesn't mean you're strict, but routine is vital. Maybe structure is a nicer word. You can't suddenly start teaching them about politeness at 13. You have to do it from the start." That's not to say that Carole imposes her own rules on Charlotte, however, as she doesn't want to get in the way of her daughter's parenting choices. As she once told Good Housekeeping, "I feel it is my children's role to pass on what they think is important to their children. I know how hard it was for me bringing up my own children, that you invest a lot in them and don't really want to know-it-all granny out there." Carole Middleton may be stern with Princess Charlotte at times, but that doesn't mean the two don't have fun together. On the contrary, Carole and Charlotte are known to share a very important passion: dance. Carole first shared her love of the activity in an interview with Good Housekeeping, saying, "I love a kitchen supper, where I have a small number of guests. I'll cook something delicious and make it look lovely, then we'll finish with a kitchen disco." Charlotte has been known to bust a move in her own home, a habit that she almost certainly inherited from her loving grandmother. On an episode of the Time to Walk podcast, Prince William shared, "Charlotte particularly is running around the kitchen in her dresses and ballet stuff and everything. She goes completely crazy with Louis following her around trying to do the same thing. It's a really happy moment where the children just enjoy dancing, messing around and singing." Because Carole Middleton maintains such a fun home environment, Princess Charlotte loves going to her grandmother's place for sleepovers. Oftentimes, the princess spends the night at Bucklebury, accompanied by the entire Wales family, including her parents. While things at Buckingham Palace tend to be serious, life with the Middleton family tends to be more laid back. Charlotte is said to enjoy the stress-free ambience at her grandparents' place, while the Middletons love providing their grandkids the opportunity to be normal children. Writing in his book, Meet Ella, the Dog Who Saved My Life, Catherine's little brother, James Middleton, revealed that the Middleton home tends to be a place where the royal children can relax. He described one particular morning when he was awoken by giggling children in the hallway, followed by the entire family having a heartwarmingly pleasant morning as they sipped their tea. In March 2024, Princess Catherine shared devastating news with the public following an abdominal surgery in January.
The surgery was successful. However, tests after the operation found cancer had been present.
While Catherine underwent chemotherapy, her mother stepped in. Carole drove Catherine to appointments, took Prince William out for a beer, and took care of her grandkids. Speaking to The Independent about Carole's role in her grandchildren's lives, an inside source divulged she's come to the rescue, provided reassurance, and has been a rock to Catherine and William as they come to terms with the news. For Charlotte, having her grandmother's support was likely huge. Watching a family member battle cancer is never easy, but experiencing public scrutiny at the same time is even more heartbreaking. Carole's helpfulness meant that Charlotte had someone to rely on during one of the most trying times of her life. Because Carole Middleton is such a wonderful grandmother, Princess Charlotte likely looks up to her as a role model. According to some royal experts, Carole's impact on the princess's disposition is clear. Apparently, Charlotte inherited her fun-loving personality from her granny. Royal correspondent Jenny Bond told OK magazine, "Princess Charlotte always looks very demure and ladylike in public, but actually I think she's kind of eyeing up what's around her, and then some of her real personality comes out, which I think is a confident, bubbly girl who has a great sense of fun. So she's very sporty, judging by previous stories her parents have told, and is surrounded by really positive female role models in her mother, her grandmother Carole, and Aunt Pippa." Beyond just being sporty though, Charlotte has apparently learned compassion from her grandmother. After watching Carole dote on Catherine in light of her cancer diagnosis, Charlotte decided to do the same. As royal expert Ingrid Seward told Hello, "I think that Charlotte is really taking care of her mum."